It's been almost 2 years since I've been posting YouTube videos on our channel, and I thought, why not make a little video to introduce myself to everyone? So here goes. I first got introduced to Plumeria when I was a little girl, and my nani, that's my maternal grandmother, would make hairbands and bracelets for me out of Plumeria flowers. She had a beautiful Plumeria tree that she had grown when they built their house in 1961. That tree was a part of our childhood. It's always been there. We've grown up climbing its branches and collecting the flowers fallen under it. Even our children have made some wonderful memories climbing that tree. It was the classic yellow and white flower variety. Now, for me, Plumeria and these classic white and yellow flowers were synonymous. So, when I first saw a colored Plumeria tree, you can imagine how fascinated I was. We were in Singapore in 1993 to visit my brother who was studying there. I remember it was the drive from the airport to the hotel when I spotted orange and pink Plumeria flowers. I couldn't believe it. They were gorgeous. Now, what I didn't know at the time was that Plumeria can be grown from cuttings. Had I known, maybe I would have started my collection way back then. And can you imagine how many cuttings I could have got, considering we visited Singapore 7 times during the next 4 years? My next encounter with colored Plumeria was when we realized a family friend had a beautiful pink Plumeria tree. Many people wanted cuttings from his tree, but he and his gardener were a little reserved when it came to sharing cuttings. Many years later, I managed to score a few cuttings of that beauty, and we have now named it Mystical Desire. It is such a prolific bloomer and has given me seed pods every single year. It's a beautiful medley of pink, magenta, and orange in summer, turning into a creamy pink in winter. Fast forward a few years, and a new 5-star hotel opened in our city. They planted a whole grove of Plumeria outside their property. They alternated red and white flowering trees. I set my heart on getting a cutting of the red one. One day I mustered all my courage and went to the guard of the hotel. I requested him for a cutting. I lied and told him my daughter was very keen to have some of the red flowers. It was more like her mum desperately wanting them. To my surprise, he very willingly agreed and told me to take a branch. Delighted, I snapped off a branch of the tree and came home feeling super triumphant. I managed to grow that gorgeous branch and got the most stunning flowers from it. I later learned that the name of that cultivar was Japanese lantern. Sadly, my lovely plant got stolen from outside our house. I learned my lesson not to grow any of my special plants outside. In 2016, my daughter, husband, and I went to Bali and Singapore with my parents. Indonesia and Singapore are both Plumeria paradises. I managed to come back with a few cuttings of new and gorgeous cultivars, but what I also got was a pod full of Plumeria seeds. I had never even seen a seed pod before, and when my mom pointed it out, I was fascinated. That's when began my journey with seedlings. I came back to India and sowed them. I didn't have many expectations for them to grow, but amazingly, they all did. I ended up with 23 baby Plumeria plants. As they grew, I kept transplanting them into bigger pots. My knowledge about Plumeria seedlings was nil. I was not fertilizing them, they were growing in a rather shaded spot, and apparently the pots were too small for the plants. I was losing interest in them as none of the 23 got flowers. I did once try feeding them NPK in the middle of the afternoon. You can see how ignorant I was. I ended up killing 4 of my seedlings. I have never used NPK after that. But then, in 2020, during the lockdown, I stumbled upon some Plumeria groups on Facebook. I joined them and whoa, the amount of knowledge I received from the members of the groups. I realized that everything I was doing was wrong. I first shifted all my Plumeria plants onto my roof. I had all of 24 or 25 plants, including the seedlings. There they received full sunlight all day long. I then got bigger pots and transplanted them. I also enriched the soil with cow manure and compost. I was still too scared to use NPK. A year after shifting them onto the roof and after caring for them a little better, the magic began. My seedlings started to flower. The first one that ever bloomed for me is what my daughter named Artemis. It's always going to be a little extra special being my first seedling. It's also very fragrant. A fascinating thing I learned along the way was that each seed from the same seed pod will produce a seedling unique to any other. It may or may not have similarities to the parent plant. It can even be totally different in color, shape, and fragrance. So growing Plumeria from seeds is basically like opening a box of assorted chocolates. You have no idea what you may get. It may be amazing or it may be a bit disappointing. Either way, it teaches you a lot of patience. Each of our seedlings from that lot has now bloomed and each one is unique. We have pinks, whites, rainbows, and even a deep magenta red, and the fragrance of all of them is different. Some barely have any, while some have very nice strong smells. My seed growing journey has been pretty amazing. I have since grown close to 300 seedlings. A lot of them are of named cultivars, the seeds of which I got through friends in Australia. It's been really exciting. Last year, I had close to 70 seed pods on my own Plumeria plants. I really have no idea where I'm going to sow all these seeds. Along with growing from seeds, I learned through a lot of trial and error how to graft Plumeria. Grafting has been a very useful skill when one gets a hard-to-root cultivar or for some reason your cutting just won't root. It has also been fun grafting multiple cultivars onto a single plant. It saves space and looks quite interesting. Till date, I have managed to get 8 cultivars blooming together on the same plant. I'm trying to graft a rainbow tree and I'm putting as many cultivars onto it as I can. Let's see how that goes. Another thing that the Facebook groups introduced me to was Plumeria swaps with other members and online Plumeria sellers. It's been crazy. From 2020, with my 24 plants, I have close to 600 plants now in 2025. I have got cuttings and plants from Australia, Thailand, Dubai, Singapore, America, Hawaii, Mauritius, and Indonesia. Even within India, I have got cuttings from lots of places all over the country. It has slowly but surely become an addiction. If I see a new cultivar, I cannot resist adding it to my collection. And I have been so lucky in getting to know some very generous and kind people, so many of whom have gifted me Plumeria cuttings. This whole journey has been a pretty awesome and fulfilling one. I've learned so much along the way. I've made such amazing friends who are as Plumeria crazy as I am. I always loved showing my grandma photos of my Plumerias and telling her all the new things I had learned about them. She used to love hearing about it and would tell me how delighted it made her that her granddaughter took up such a satisfying hobby. She had photos of some of my Plumerias on the walls of her bedroom, and she used to love looking at them and telling people about my crazy collection. Going forward, my Plumeria goals are to have a farm or piece of land where I can let my plants grow to their full potential. To meet as many of my Plumeria friends from around the world as possible. It feels so strange to think that I have never met most of them, and yet they have become such close friends. To visit Thailand and walk through Plumeria Kingdom, and to visit Hawaii and go to the Jim Little Plumeria farms. To start a line of my own Plumeria cultivars. I have my entire family involved in trying to help me collect more and more Plumeria cultivars. My daughter has been the one to spot so many unusual varieties which we have eventually managed to get cuttings of. My husband has actually gone around asking hotel staff for cuttings for me. My parents recently visited Mauritius and came back loaded with gorgeous cuttings. My father-in-law has got me some nice cuttings and plants. My younger brother, his wife and daughter visit Goa and Dubai quite often. They have got me some beauties from Goa and are my official carriers for cuttings from Dubai. My elder brother and his family visited Hawaii and came back with cuttings for me. I love the fact that all my nieces and nephews see Plumeria and refer to it as their aunt's plant. I want everyone I know to look at Plumeria and instantly think of me. I want Plumeria and my name to be synonymous.